Hey, this is Cynthia. For those of you who have wondered where I've been, um, the story is just so long. I've come on Facebook, Instagram, trying to explain to people what was going on in my life, in my situation. The thing is, I still don't totally know what this whole debacle was about. It's continuously about. But I've gotten a pretty good idea over this last year that what has been going on and who a lot of the key players in what's been being done to me and my daughter are. Jennifer and I have been basically tormented for the last 6 months continuously, but over the last year and a half, just it's horrible. It's deplorable. It doesn't make any sense for anybody to have to go through what we've gone through, and have gone to any and everybody that I could think of to ask for help, and nobody would do anything to help us. They watched while these things happened to us, while these people did these things to us, and nothing was done. And I don't mean just friends watched. I mean the powers that be watched. I mean, I've called police. I've tried to go to lawyers. I've gone to the job, spoken to Health and Human Services, called every domestic violence shelter in Los Angeles, San Diego, Riverside, and this thing is bigger than, whoever is doing this. And I thought, it's just confined to my husband and, some jealousy, marital issues, but this is way beyond marital issues. Still, I was getting information downloads. I've been having some real clairaudient downloads in the last year. I mean, honestly, it's how I've found out about a lot of what was going on, and actually it's how I've gotten out of a lot of these situations that were meant to exterminate me and my daughter both. They had us kidnapped and taken to Mexico, and I didn't know where I was. Nobody would help us. We slept on the streets in the dirt. They told people we were whores, and at night they would chase us down. We'd have to sleep in balconies and in people's patios with no covering. And though you can say, well, you weren't actually held, but if you're in a place where you don't know where you are, they know you don't know where you are. Nobody is allowed to tell you where you are. There are no maps. I thought that we were in El Paso, but it turned out that we were purposely taken over the border to Juarez, Mexico. And I think that we were taken there to be, I'm not going to say the word, but you can basically paint the picture for yourself. But we were there for 10 days, just roaming. I called the police. Actually, the police were the ones that were following us in Mexico. So, I initially started out with them, but honestly, that's how I got there. They handed me over to the people that were paid to kidnap us. So, if you're asking why don't you go that route, that's why. Because I've already tried that. And it always ends up really bad for me and my daughter. We got out of Mexico after 10 days because I had my phone, I had my cell phone, and I still had my job, So after roaming around for days, I mean, we got there because I had bought a ticket to Tennessee because my daughter and I had been being followed around in California and LA, dropped off in dangerous places. I couldn't catch an Uber. I couldn't catch a bus. Somebody was doing a lot to affect our lives. And they had put sugar in the tank of my car, destroyed my Cadillac. But now I know that they did all that was orchestrated to make sure that I'd have to catch that bus so that they could do exactly what they did. I've been drugged, I think possibly rigged. I don't remember it, and thank God I don't. But they actually sent the video to my cell phone, so that's why I'm saying that. And it's, to them, hilarious. It's funny. They enjoy knowing that they're destroying my life, and for what? Jealousy. And to find out that my own family were responsible for this. Like I said, I called my daughter and my son, and that's how I got out of Mexico, because I didn't know where I was. And basically just speaking to somebody else that knew who I was, it gave me a little push to try and figure out how to get the hell out of where we were. And it turned out that all I had to do was kind of walk over the bridge, over the freeway. The 10 freeway leads, it's like the barrier between Juarez and El Paso. So once I walked over that bridge into El Paso, then they paid for me a room. My son paid for me a room. And I thought, okay, oh my God, I'm free. Thankfully, thank God for my children. But the next day, I had told them that, what had happened with the bus. And it's like that night, I was, all those things went through my head. It's like I called them, and I told them that I had been, I told them the whole story. And not once did they say, Mom, stay where you are. Stay where you are. We're going to call the police. We're going to send somebody to talk to you. Not once. And it occurred to me that not once. They weren't worried or concerned. I would have, if they had called me and said, Mom, somebody kidnapped me and took me to Mexico. Oh my God. My initial response would have been, getting them to a safe place, and then finding somebody, the authorities, to talk to them and figure out who the hell had done it. But none of that. Their second thing for me to do, the thing after getting me the room and trying to get me to feel comfortable, the next thing was getting me home. So because of the situation with the bus was a decoy bus. That's how they got me there. So I wasn't about to get back on the Greyhound and go back to California. It's like, that's how this started. I wanted to fly home, but no, he was appalled. Oh, Mom, what are you doing to me? What am I doing to you? I've been kidnapped. I'm frantic here. And you're going to say, what are you doing to me? That's the response I got. My son wanted me to go to Greyhound and get on that bus and go home, supposedly. There was no way. I didn't understand why he was trying to send me back to the place, the people who had done this. And then, bing. Oh my God. Oh my God. He was sending me back there because they were responsible. The only phone call that went through on that trip, on that, I can't even say trip, that nightmare, was the one to my son and daughter. The only time that my phone, my emails, my text messaging worked was when I was contacting the two of them. Why is that? Because they were in on it. There was no way I was getting back on that bus. And the Lord was with me the whole time with this whole situation because I just didn't know what to do. I didn't. We were there. The nights were like, survive the night. There were people, it seemed like they were trying to intimidate us more so than do anything. But the initial premise was to drive me crazy. So, once I was crazy and they could have kind of dominion over me. They could take my daughter, which is what they initially want. They want to be able to say, well, I'm unfit to take care of my daughter. Therefore, one of my children should do the job of taking care of her because I have an established job that I've been doing for 18 years, taking care of my daughter, and I make really good money. And because everybody else is basically, my job is one of the mandatory ones. And they have decided amongst themselves that I don't deserve to be able to do what I do. I don't do my job. This is what's being said of me. They're telling people all kinds of lies about me in an effort to, like I said, assassinate my character, to make people think that I'm unfit, loose, drug addict. And this is a lot of the reason for they've hired people to follow me, to intimidate me so that I don't feel comfortable anywhere. And then you're intimidated and you're running in places that you don't recognize, in places that you've never been. And I end up sleeping on the streets because somehow they have it to where they can call these hotels and tell them not to give us rooms. And the reason for that is so you're sleeping on the streets. I'm laying on the streets with your, I have money, but I can't get a room. And they've made that possible. That's what they've done, is they want people to believe a certain thing about me. And then they're basically taking photos to kind of reiterate the narrative that they've created. It's a story. But if they have photos of me laid out on the street, oh, you look like, but they created this story. They're doing this to us purposely to take from me. And not to take from me because I've done anything to anyone. Because they just don't want me to have it. There's something that's being hidden from me about my life. And they're holding my mail. They're affecting my phones are totally hacked. This one I think this is about the sixth phone that I bought. I don't have my contact list from my other phone because I don't dare even try to go in and reopen that. I just need to leave that where it is for now. But they've made it so that everybody thinks that I've said things about them, or I've told lies about them, or I've done something bad to them, to turn everyone against me. That way I'm isolated. And People just stop asking after a while where she is. Oh, she's, you know how she is. She's a drug addict, so she could be anywhere. That was, I think, what was supposed to happen. And it basically was what happened. I ended up getting out of El Paso basically by the skin of my teeth, because they were trying their best to keep me from being able to get out. But there was one agent that after they had told me there weren't any more tickets, there wouldn't be any more flights for another 2 days, the one agent that the Lord told me to go back one more time, go and ask one more time. And when I did, there was one agent that helped us. And the first place I could think to go was to North Carolina. It was where my mother went when she left California, and they had tickets to North Carolina, so I took it. And I figured it had to be far enough away for me to at least be able to regroup and figure out what the hell was going on, and then come back and then maybe try and straighten this thing out. But everywhere I go, it's the same thing. I don't know how they have these minions that follow me everywhere. The stores that I go to, that I shop at, the places where I buy the phone. It's not a coincidence that everywhere I buy a phone, the phones won't work. There's no SIM card in the box. Or you recognize the clerks at all the Metro PC stores. There's someone or something that is working against me. And I know what this sounds like. I know it sounds like some kind of made for Lifetime movie, and it definitely is. But I have no reason to make this up. Where I've been is running from state to state, from I don't even know who. I don't know why. And my children and family and brother are the reason, are at the forefront of this vendetta against me. I went to my brother, and only to realize that he was just right at the forefront. He got me a room, and I was trying to use the phone, and went into the hallway where the phone boxes were, and the lines to my room were cut. And I have photos of that. So I went up to his room, and I asked him to take his phone. Before I noticed that the lines were cut, I didn't have a phone. Everybody else had a phone in the room, but my room didn't have a phone. My room always doesn't have a phone, or the phone doesn't work. So I went up to his room and asked him to take his phone, since he didn't use the phone in his room anyway. And just to see if the breaker worked, if the socket was working, because there was no point in getting a phone from the desk if the line didn't work. But he got defensive. Just, no, you can't take that. No, his room was a mess, but he was so afraid that I was going to mess up something in this little corner where the phone was. Bingo. He gave himself away. And then I could see after that there was people following me there. The people at the hotel, when I went to try and renew the room, because it's like, even though I know he's doing what he's doing, where am I supposed to go? I still have to try and figure. There's so much that I still don't understand, that I still have to figure out. So I'm trying to at least just get some leverage about where I'm staying. I go downstairs, and they're on the they're saying there's something in the computer saying not to renew my lease. They can't let me get a room anymore. Why? Because I figured out that he was doing what he was doing. There was no other reason. There was no reason for them not to let me get a room for another week. I hadn't done anything. But as soon as he feels threatened by me, then they try and that's been the MO, putting us out on the street. And my daughter and I spent at least 20 days sleeping on bus stops, behind grocery stores, on the ground. I have a job that I've worked for 18 years, but I'm sleeping behind grocery stores because of a vendetta orchestrated by my own family. It's crazy. Shameful. And they're still picking at me, still. Everywhere I go, they're still. My phone, this phone right now is hacked. Guarantee you. The phone that I had when I got here, somebody took all the photos, all the text messages were erased by an outside source. They're trying to make sure that I don't have any evidence to any of the things that are being done. At the hotel in North Carolina, when I would go do my laundry, somebody was coming in my room because I had all my documents. My documents were stolen. They had me do some bogus car sale before I left California. They sold me a car that they knew was damaged. I think that was an effort to hurt me too. That I was supposed to have an accident on the freeway in that car because it was just all over the road. But the contract for that car didn't include one of the features that they said the car had. And that got me out of the contract. It said that there's something about where the car, if it veers off from left to right, if it veers off, that there's a feature in the car that straightens it out, that makes it straighten. And he said that the reason that it was weaving was because of that it needed to be adjusted. That feature needed to be adjusted. Only on that Volkswagen, that VW, that car didn't have that feature. It was on my contract, but it didn't have it. So it voided the contract, and they gave me back my truck. I bought that. I went to that place, I think, the end of November, and I took it back the beginning of December. They gave me back my car, and he apologized. I don't want you to think that we tried to sell you. No, the only reason that they gave me back my car is because they were stuck. They knew that they sold me a car, a damaged car, and they thought I was stupid, and I wasn't. So they had no choice but to give me my car back, which is why they came into my room in North Carolina and stole back the contract. I had the contract for the car. I had my documents, my social security cards, my birth certificate, Jennifer's birth certificate, so all that was stolen, taken after Mexico. When we were in Mexico, when we were in New Mexico, the nurse that was supposed to be caring for me wrote down all my information from my cards. I had the book in that I keep all my my passwords, because I was having to change my phones and stuff so much that I couldn't take the chance that I would forget them. So I had a little book that I would keep in my bra with my passwords. And when they drugged me and I ended up going to the hospital, she wrote down all my information and passed it on. I know that's what happened. Her name was Sunny, Nurse Sunny, worked at a hospital that was behind what do you call those? Elderly care place in New Mexico. And she also injected me with something. I'm not sure what that is, and God told me not to worry about it. But Nurse Sunny, you're going to pay for whatever that was you did. Anyway, yeah, she took down all my information, wrote down all my passwords, tried to damage IDs, scraped the back of each of our IDs and my credit cards and my debit card, trying to make it so that they were trying to make it so that I was stuck in Mexico and unable to get out. So you figure out what they were trying to do. But we did get out. She damaged the strip, and I wish I had it. You know what? I can show you. She damaged the strip on the back of my ID, so that when you try to fly somewhere, you can't. So that even if I tried to go somewhere, you have to show ID. And this is what she did to mine. You can see where it's like a 7 scratched. How would your ID get like this? My ID stays in my wallet. She did this to my ID, to Jennifer's ID, trying to make it so that we were stuck. This is somebody that I didn't know, and supposedly who didn't know me. This is what I'm telling you. This thing is going across states. So whoever's doing this to me is bigger than just a jealous husband. But back to Texas. I did go to my brother in Texas, and I figured out that that wasn't the place. That wasn't the place for help. So I got paid and took the first thing smoking out of there back to Cali. One of the reasons for coming back, I didn't know where to go, honestly, but one of the reasons for coming back to California was that my identification was about to expire. They had been trying to steal it so that they would have me stuck wherever I was, or in a position where I'd have to take the bus and they could kidnap us again. That was the point. So I needed to get back to where I could get those things fixed, where I could go, I knew how to get those things replaced. So I had to come back to California, which is what I did. And I had been told, basically enlightened to the fact that my daughter was in on what was happening. But it was one of the things that I just didn't want to believe. I knew, but I felt like there had to be an explanation. Why? I mean, it just didn't make any sense. So I went to her house. I actually flew to California, and I stayed in Norwalk. When we got to Norwalk, as usual, no rooms. Nobody would give us a room. So my daughter and I spent the night on the bus stop on Imperial and Bellflower, just on the bus stop, freezing. The next day, there was a woman that the Regency gave us a room for the night. And that morning, my daughter, that was by that time my brother figured out we had snuck out, because I left the phone and everything, turned the phone off so they couldn't, But I'm not sure if the phone was what they were tracking, but I assumed that, and I turned it off, and we flew all the way home with it off. So by the 27th, my daughter called and was asking where were we, where are you? Are you guys still coming? So I took that, even though I felt apprehensive about it. I felt like I needed to at least put some more money together so that my daughter and I could at least start out, get to a place where we were comfortable, safe. So I decided that I would try and stay with my daughter for 2 weeks. And those were the craziest 2 weeks of my life. The thing is, any doubt that I had about whether she was a part of this was removed once I got to her house. So she didn't know that I was coming straight to the house. She thought, I talked to her, and she had told my son to pick me up and take me to his home. And I didn't tell him that I wasn't coming. I just went straight to her home because I felt like it was more him than her. My bad, So I've just felt more comfortable going to her house. At least I felt like even if she was guilty of some of this, she wouldn't do anything in front of my grandchildren. So it's like she would have to behave herself. I was wrong. Boy, was I wrong. So my daughter and I took the train to Riverside, and we had to take the train, and then the train broke down and I hit a car, and I had to take 3 buses, and it took us a long time, from 11 to 6 o'clock, still like 5:30, to get from LA to Riverside. And then when we got to Riverside, I had to use the restroom. So I didn't want to go inside of her house, even though I had the key. I wanted to wait until she got there, but I had to go. So I did use my key, but I texted her and let her know that I was gonna use my key and go inside. And when I went inside her house, wow. I had been told that me losing my apartment, the first apartment, my husband giving up the second apartment, it was all done purposely to do me homeless, to make it so that I didn't have a stable place to live. That's what they wanted. They wanted me homeless, jobless, on the streets, crazy, or dead. That's what they wanted. But, it's like, you can have somebody tell you that, and when it's your family, somebody damn near has to shove that down your throat before you believe it. But God shoved it down my throat. He surely did. Because when I walked in that house, the furniture that I thought I sold my friend from that apartment, the sofa, the sectional, the TV, all of it was in my daughter's living room. She wanted my life, my furniture, my husband, my boyfriend, anybody else that I'd been with or thought I wanted. It was about a sick, twisted jealousy. Twisted. For the one, I have to say, the child that I did the most for. Twisted. They were either trying to put things in my food the whole time that I was there, or trying to make me think that there were things being put in my food the whole time. They want you off balance. And she was trying to set me off, trying to do things to make me react. Stole my pants. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but I had a backpack full of things. That's all the stuff I had, was one backpack with everything I owned in it. And she took one of those items to get a reaction out of me. But I refused to give her one. I let it go. She brought someone that I knew through the house for me to see. I wasn't sweating it. Whatever. It was all a ploy to make me go off. They wanted me to do what they've been telling people. Oh, she's crazy. If you make her mad, she's going to go off. She'll do this. She does that. She doesn't care about anybody but herself. All that is lies. They want people to think that about me. And after the stuff she did, I should have went off. But I didn't. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction. And I'd already been told, I've already spent this time changing me. Not being reactive to the things that these people keep trying to do to me. I will not allow my integrity to be affected by liars and thieves, jealous whoremongers, people who have destroyed their own integrity, trying to make me look a certain way. Now you look crazy, because I'm not. I'm far from crazy. I'm far from a crackhead. I'm not on any drugs. though they keep trying to pay people to drug me so that I'll act crazy, I'll act out, and they can have it on film that, oh, see, I told you. It could be an I told you so moment instead of an orchestrated moment. People won't know that this is something that they set up, but it's what's been happening. They've constantly been trying to set me up for things, set me up for to be hurt, set me up to go to jail, set me up, calling the IRS and trying to get me for tax evasion, which they've made it difficult for me to take care of my personal issues. Honestly, my job does not require me to pay taxes, but my husband did not mail in the form that exempts me from the taxes, and I did not know that he didn't mail it. So they're telling people that I'm purposely doing things that they purposely orchestrated situations to make me look bad. Telling people that I sleep around, that I've been giving people STDs. I don't have, nor have I ever had any of these STDs that they're trying to say that I gave anyone. I haven't given anyone anything. Not even sex in the last year and 2 months. I've been celibate. So all this, I sleep around and I do this and I've done this person, it's lies. My family has betrayed me in the worst possible way for no reason. There was no reason for this. I still don't know what the core issue of this is. I know there's so much more to this that I don't know. But what I do know is that they've tried to set me up to be killed. They've tried to set me up to go to jail. They've tried to take my child away so that they could put me on the streets. They've already made it so I lost my apartment, stole my furniture, wanted my life for no reason. No reason. They can tell you that I was a terrible parent, but everybody who knows me knows that is a bold-faced lie. I did everything for my children, especially my daughter. There was no reason for this except for jealousy, money, and jealousy. You guys are pathetic. The thing is, they're not even sorry. There isn't even any, not even apologetic. Just sorry you got caught stealing my money from my bank accounts. I don't know how they got all these people to follow suit. All these people that are gang stalking me. They've stolen every last one of my Facebook accounts and been using them to slander my name, to make it seem like I'm saying things about and to people that it's not me. Why they have me isolated in a place where I can't get out of, using phones that won't work, that I can't connect with anyone with. Everybody that's around me is a part of this charade. And I know it does sound like a movie, but it isn't a movie. I wish it was a damn movie. It's not a movie, it's my life. I don't know why this is happening, but this is happening. I have tried to do the right thing, to go through the right channels. It just hasn't worked. They aren't on my side. And I have no idea how these liars are getting help from the people that should be helping me and my daughter. I don't. This is crazy. There's no reason why I should have had to go through this nightmare that has lasted over a year. I have no car. I have no home. They're still trying to steal my money, still trying to set us up. Not just me, us. I'm not sleeping on the streets by myself. Jennifer's with me, sleeping on these streets, out here in these dangerous situations. Me having to try and protect us both. For what, when I haven't done anything to anyone? Because they're trying to convince people that I'm this horrible person. The horrible people are the ones you're listening to. The life that they're telling you is mine is their life. They're flipping the script, trying to make me seem like who they are. Why is it that I only became these things when my marriage ended? 50 years, and I haven't decided I wanted to take a trip around the world, but all of a sudden now, I just decided, the crack just made me want to go? No. I'm not on crack. My head is not bald because I'm on crack or sick from a disease. I cut my hair off because there are people chasing us down like dogs. They're looking for 2 women. So I felt like maybe we'd be a little safer if I looked like a man. Crazy, I'm too cute to look like a man, but I tried it. I had to do what I had to do. That's why I shaved my head. To try and keep us safe, because nobody else would do anything, and I did the only thing I knew to do. The people who know me know that these things that are being said are lies. There's family out here who's watching this go down and not doing anything. Shame on you guys. If I hated you, there's no way that I would watch somebody chase you and your kids down, make you sleep on the streets. My daughter actually pulled up her dress and showed me her ass while I was at her house. Her actual ass, trying to set me off, trying to prove that I'm crazy. But who's crazy? Why would you do that? I still don't understand what that was about, but that's what she did. Just stood there. They want people to think I'm crazy. But obviously, she's lost her fucking mind. I'm not crazy. I'm pissed off. Duly so. But my faith is unshaken. God is going to see me and my daughter through this. And the people who have been a part of this are going to be so sorry. And if you don't believe that God is favoring me through this, God is seeing me through this, how else do I know what's going on? How do I know? I bet you're asking yourself, how does she know? That's how I know. I know it all. And I know what he's going to do about it.